Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 3rd July 2023. My name is T.S.V. Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube, hariboltrsvnectar, nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous videos. So let us continue with the topic for today. We have been thrashing at length the topic of karma in the lives of a human living entity. We have been doing so in the past so many videos. At the risk of repeating myself, let me give you an introduction to the topic of karma. Karma is a storage of deeds of a particular human living entity in all his lifetimes, birth after birth and death after death. This karma decides on the destiny of a human living entity. This karma is of 4 categories. They are as follows. The first is called Sanchit Karma. Sanchit Karma is a complete archive of a storage of karma of a human living entity which is stored in the psyche of that human living entity, and it consists of unworked karma of every human living entity during his or her past births. This storage called Sanchit Karma is used to decide the future birth of that particular living entity. It is done like this. A slice of this Sanchit Karma, which is still unworked, is selected by that human living entity to be used as the foundation for his or her future birth. This slice, which has to be worked out in the birth that this person is going to take in a particular lifetime, is known as prarabdha karma. Majority of the life of a living entity depends on this prarabdha karma. It is based on this only. However, destiny and supreme personality of Godhead gives every living entity a free will to do something new in a particular birth. He or she may work out whatever deeds he or she did in that particular living birth of that living entity. This free will effort or karma is known as kriyamana karma. At the end of the life of that living entity, some unworked karma from his prarabdha karma and some unworked karma from his or her kriyamana karma still remains as a residue. This residue is combined together and is called agami karma. This agami in English means future karma. This agami karma is pasted to the already existing sanchit karma of that particular living entity. In other words, in the next birth, the slice that this living entity selects may or may not include this unworked kriyamana karma also, and hence his or her birth in the next birth or lifetime depends on a tinge of this unworked kriyamana karma of the past. The unworked prarabdha karma was already existing in that sanchit karma. Now we know that there are 4 categories of karma. First is the archive or storage called sanchit karma. Second is a slice of this sanchit karma for a particular birth called prarabdha karma. Third is the deeds done by the living entity in his or her birth thanks to his or her free will. This is called kriyamana karma. And the fourth, agami karma, is a residue and combination of unworked prarabdha karma and unworked kriyamana karma of that living entity. This combination of residue is again pasted to the original and already existing sanchit karma of that human living entity. We have been discussing about several case histories to find out how this topic of karma works in the lives of every human living entity. Before continuing, let me hastily add that this is a cycle that goes on and on in the lifetimes of every human living entity in a cycle of endless birth and death. This whole cycle stops only when this particular human living entity stops getting further birth and gets liberated from repeated births and deaths. Today we will discuss one particular case history which will vouch for the importance and authentication of this topic of karma. This particular case history is quite intriguing, interesting, and slightly painful. This is painful because it is not only masochistic but almost flagellatory in the case of that particular protagonist of this case history. So much so that one is left to wonder whether it was an already existing prarabdha karma or was it because of the usage of free will by this protagonist in this particular birth. So let us continue. There is a very famous temple town in Punjab, India, which is known as Amritsar. This Amritsar borders the neighboring country of Pakistan, which is politically at loggerhead with India. There was one boy called Purushottam Das Verma who was born in the year 1952 in the month of February in that particular town. When he grew up, he set up his own electrical repair shop. Things were going well for this boy. He was having a respectable middle class life in Amritsar. One day, one friend of this boy suggested that the life of a spy is very, very interesting and full of adventure. He suggested that this Purushottam Das Verma may offer his own services to the government of India to work as a spy in the neighboring country of Pakistan. All through, everything looks like this boy's prarabdha karma. It seems that the way he was born, his beginning as an electrician, his meeting a friend, and this friend suggesting about spying are all a part of Purushottam Das Prarabdha Karma. However, here it looks that his Kriyamana Karma from his own free will took a nasty turn. This boy went to the government and offered his services as a spy in Pakistan for the sake of India. The government was initially hesitant and reluctant, but when this boy insisted, they gave him the required basic training to become a spy and forewarned him that if ever he was caught, he was on his own. The Indian government will not take any responsibility regarding this boy because it would put India at a risk. Purushottam Das Verma agreed. He landed in Pakistan in a city called Lahore or Islamabad. Here he worked for some time as a spy and collected information. However, due to one mistake on his part, he came to the notice of the investigative agencies of Pakistan and now he was on the run. This guy tried to escape Pakistan as fast as possible, but he was caught by the authorities when he tried to cross the border by walking through the fence. He was caught red-handed by the authorities and brought to prison. Here he was tortured viciously. And here is what I am talking about, his extreme masochism. This guy seemed to be loving this pain. Whether this was his Kriyamana Karma or Prarabdha Karma or a sadistic combination of both, nobody can deduce. However, the viewer may try to do that. Probably it was all because of the foundation of his Prarabdha Karma, but the later activities were his own doing and undoing, and they were his Kriyamana Karma. More was to follow. This guy was tough and he bore all the torture as per how a spy does. He did not reveal anything. Moreover, he lied through the teeth that his name was Subhash Chandra. Subhash Chandra Bose was a very famous freedom fighter in India during the colonial period. So the authorities joked that Subhash Chandra Bose had come back again as a spy. One of the torturers was an extremely sadistic police officer called Inayat Ali. Purushottam Das Verma himself confirmed that Inayat Ali was so violent and bloodthirsty that when he tortured a person, even if that guy was dumb, would suddenly start speaking. Now, Subhash Chandra or Purushottam Das Verma went through lot of torture, pain, etc. and remained in prison. Even if you say that it was Prarabdha Karma, more was to follow. After a few years, even this stone-hearted Inayat Ali caught a fancy for this boy and he released him. He said, "Subhash Chandra Bose, you are free to go to India." And here this Purushottam Das Verma's Kriyamana Karma out of free will took over. This unfortunate young man took pity on that sadist Inayat Ali and quipped, "Sir, you are extremely innocent. My name is not Subhash Chandra Bose, but it is Purushottam Das Verma." Nobody had told Purushottam Das to say this to Inayat Ali, but he did say that. Inayat Ali was already a wolfish guy. When he came to know that a chit of a guy had taken him for a ride for so many years, he blew his top. Inayat Ali put Purushottam Das Verma into a harder prison than the one where Purushottam Das Verma was. Here he was repeatedly tortured for 8 years in such a way that, in Purushottam Das' own words, he himself lost his mental balance. Why this guy did all this, nobody can know. It looks to the viewer and the student of spiritualism that the second quipping was certainly not prarabdha karma. It was done according to the free will of Purushottam Das Verma. Nobody can understand why he did it. Yes, it is quite evident by now that Purushottam Das Verma was not only a masochist but also a flagellant. He loved the physical pain of torture, and probably only that made him tell Inayat Ali that his real name was Purushottam Das Verma. Anyway, this Purushottam remained in prison for 8 long years, went through a lot of unspeakable hardship, but later on he was released by the Pakistani government to the Indian authorities, and this guy was taken back to Amritsar, where he was given some money to start his life on his own once again. This case history tells us how this free will operates. It may be good, bad, or indifferent, positive, negative, or indifferent. In this particular case history, it made this boy suffer a lot, and probably he had some residue of his free will Kriyamana Karma still left out to be worked out in another birth. If it is so, this torturous karma of Kriyamana Karma of Purushottam Das Verma will be stored in his own Sanchit Karma, and the next slice of Prarabdha Karma he is born with may or may not be colored with this unworked Kriyamana Karma. This makes one feel sorry to this for this human living entity. What he was, how he was so, and why he was so, nobody knows. His prarabdha karma already put him in danger, but this danger was further aggravated by his own kriyamana karma according to his free will. This has made his sanchit karma more and more torturous and masochistic. We must take a leaf out of the life of such guys, at least to know what we should never do. We must have such sanchit karma which only takes us up and up in the ladder of life till we get complete liberation from further births and deaths. Our sanchit karma and prarabdha karma must not only be positive, but even our kriyamana karma done according to our own free will in a particular lifetime should be such that it improves our storage of karma for future birth. This positive kriyamana karma may be materialistic or spiritual. Preferably, it should be spiritual so that in our next birth we take a spiritual birth. Or even if it is materialistic, it should be far, far better than what it is today. Further, when we take even other births in our own destiny, those births should either keep us at the same pedestal or make us do such kriyamana karma that we become more and more successful in our future births, both materialistically and spiritually. This should be our aim in life so that we ultimately attain self-realization, get liberated from repeated births and deaths, and finally get delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert views, opinions, thoughts, and ideas regarding this matter so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.